I feel emotional even think about just going there with this, because in my life, I've been so lucky. I played at Glastonbury, I played at the London Palladium, I played at the Hammersmith Odeon, I played all over, and I had, Liverpool Empire. I played at the Liverpool Arena. Some of the great things. I was there at the birth of my daughter, Rosalita, and the best day of my life was when we beat Everton 3-0 at Goodison Park. Speaking about, it gives you an imprint which never leaves you of joy. I thought I was going to pass out. I was so high with the emotions of it. And I think, why was it like that? And I think it's got something to do with the fact that everybody I know supports Everton. All of my oldest friends from Ellesmere Port and all of my family, Birkenhead, they're all Blues. Everybody I know is a Blue. And the way the football works is that, you want to stick it to your close nearest and dearest, don't you? When you want that thing to happen. And that's the way fandom works. And the way that we played was just off the scale. I got introduced to John Aldridge once years ago. I was out with Steve Rotherham, the mayor, when he was an MP, and he said, "Come and meet Aldo. He's up at the Casa on Hope Street." And I went, "Oh wow, yeah, I'd love to. Never met him." And as soon as I got introduced, said, "You gave me the best day of my life." And he went, where were we? Istanbul or something? And I went, no, because I'd played in Istanbul for the fans before the game, before that big Liverpool game. I said, no, at Goodison Park, January 2001. And his immediate reaction, without dropping anything, was, "It should have been 4. It should have been 4." And he started to get irate, the way that we've seen Aldridge get irate on the touchline in fucking Mexico or something. And I was just going, "Oh, really?" And he was going on about that. And I said, "Just thank you." But I'd forgotten about that, the one where we should have scored another. And it was when the second goal went in, when Kumas looped it over. And so I wasn't so on edge then. We had a 2-goal cushion. When that one went in, I started to hyperventilate. There's 6,000 of us in the upper Bullens as well, because it's the FA Cup. So we get more, more thing. And their heads have gone down. And, and they can't believe the Tranmere Rovers, the little minnows, who they all kind of, it's the result they'd look for after Liverpool every week, because it's a Liverpool Merseyside football family, are hammering them, And by the time that Yatesy made it St. Yates Day and put the third in, the ground was empty, basically. And there was a few fellas in the park end, and 6,000 of us, as one, as clear as a bell, in unison, were singing at them, "Are you Chester in disguise?" And so now I'm laughing, hyperventilating, beyond joyful, like I've never felt as high as that in my life. And I'm also crying. So now I probably need to calm down, or I'm going to have a fucking cardiac arrest. And then the final whistle went, and it was nuts. Really was. To this day, it's still the best moment of my life.
I was only 10 when that game took place, and I was so happy, so glad that I was there. But I do wish that I'd been a little bit older, so I could kind of appreciate just what a thing this was. But I remember chanting, "Are you Chester in disguise?" I remember the chants of "There's only one Peter Johnson" as well, which would have really annoyed them.
Yeah. It was. I got. I was going back to Little Sutton after the I was with Morgo, my roadie, who was he'd driven there, and I got a few messages to my phone from mates who were Blue saying, "Listen, we're made up for you, really great, but he he said, there's one of the nutters in the port. I'm not even going to say his name now, but I know who he was. And, and he said, he's going mad here. And his precise words were, if Prowsey comes in here gloating, then he's going through that window over there. So I had to kind of calm myself down. And when I went into the pub, I said, good match, wasn't it, mate? In case he killed me. So that brought me back down to earth. I thought battered.
I remember coming out of the ground, and we travelled over in a car with a couple of family friends, and one rule that he said was we weren't allowed to put our scarves out the window until we got to the tunnel.
Right. Okay.
And the other thing was, I just remember walking out and a somewhat delighted but also nervous Tranmere fan singing "There May Be Trouble Ahead."
Well, you know what it can be like down County Road. This can get a bit tasty. So yeah, I think I just put my head down, and but I think they were more, just they couldn't believe it and angry with the mess that their own club was in at that time. But yeah, it was. I hope our Rosie doesn't watch this, because she'll probably kick off saying, isn't it supposed to be the best moment of your life when your child's born? It's not enough.
The thing is, you couldn't script that day better. The homegrown hero Kumas getting the second in just gorgeous fashion. Aldo, the ex-Red, returning to torment Everton. Obviously, Tranmere had a few former Everton players in their ranks as well. Barlow and Rideout. Thomas Myra in goal for Everton had been on loan at Tranmere earlier that season. It's a local derby. It's a fixture that has so rarely happened down the years. And Tranmere were the giant killers at that time. The day could not have gone or have been scripted any better. Well, apart from Aldo, who wanted it to be 4.
Well, we genuinely battered them in every department, didn't we? They just didn't show up in front of their own fans. So it was, once the elation had kind of worn off, it was a bit like, Jesus, Everton. If I was a fan, I'd be, you'd be furious with them. But I think they just didn't. It obviously, the gravity of it was so much more for us. Yeah, wonderful.
And it's mad how it's never worn off down the years as well, because we do still gloatingly, and some people might say embarrassingly, celebrate the anniversary each year as St. Yates Day, but it never has worn off, because it was such a special day, and that's what football does to you. It's what sport does to you.
I post it every year. I post it, and a couple of me, still got all the same all the same friends, all the same Bezzy mates, and they're all just like, "Oh, would you just leave it out?" And look at the state of us now. But still, come next week when it's St. Yates Day, I'll watch it all over again on YouTube and have a little moment.